Hello, welcome to the Reason Effective podcast, a place for some casual Pokemon TCG discussion, casual kind of friendly conversation, but we take the gameplay seriously, is how I describe things. Brought to you by myself, Uncommon Fossil, and 10 types.
Yep, very serious individual here. Um, yeah, I don't know what you mean by we take the gameplay seriously. I
All
mean we
right.
play the game.
Well, describe the podcast in a little one sentence for me then. Are you,
I got one word for you. Goat. It's
good. Okay.
the
Well
greatest of all
said.
time.
Okay, so just a little thing before the main topic here, the live forums, right? Just a little chance to kind of give a little criticism of Pokemon that where they deserve it. The live forums, it's we're recording at towards the end of the month is what I'll say. It'll
We're recording on Easter. Happy Easter, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the last day of the month.
Correct. It's the 31st. So I've noticed a lot more of mod replies where they say open a ticket the last couple of days. Maybe I've noticed it more, but I think maybe I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a quota like for the month they do. So they just kind of slap them out at the end of the month to do it. And several of them are on like my deck. My deck list is now listed as not playable, and someone else has already responded saying it rotated, and now the mod says, "Oh, please file support ticket," which is obviously just so not the right thing to do.
Yeah, one thing I think that is the case because in the past I've seen that like there are really high numbers of that, and it's like for a few day period.
Yeah,
Presumably, I guess at the end of the month. I wasn't really paying attention, but that could definitely be what it is, which isn't good, obviously, because that means they're not doing their job. Whatever it is, it's not or at least, or maybe they're being asked to do something that they shouldn't be asked to do. I'm not sure whose fault it is, but it's obviously kind of not right.
yeah, right. Like the case of right, like I said, someone that's issue is because they don't understand rotation. They
And
don't
that's
need to
fine, and you
file
should
us.
ask there, right?
Right, but
Um,
they don't need to file. They shouldn't be being told to file a support ticket. Right, that's
yeah.
not the right response. The mods, though, positively, they finally. We haven't talked about it. Don't want to get into it, but there's been a lot of posts in the forums about third party servers, and they've finally taken down most of those. It appears so that which
Yeah, and those posts appear to be essentially spam. There's been a lot of spam on it.
yeah,
Um, for whatever reason. I mean, that's just kind of how forums work, right? There's a lot of junk, and I guess they're addressing that, which is good. I don't know if it's there have certainly been times at which I try to keep my channel. It's not like made for kids. YouTube, it is not made for kids. Do not demonetize all my videos. But it is. I want to keep it family friendly. There have definitely been posts that have not been family friendly. So
yeah.
and they should be. I mean, Pokemon's it's not necessarily a game for kids. You could argue that it is, but it's certainly intended to be family friendly. And so,
Right.
yeah, hopefully they do that.
Yeah, they need to keep it family friendly. Things about like at best either illegal servers that Pokemon wouldn't want to see, or they're just lies which Pokemon shouldn't want to be spread. Or I've seen possibly it's done so people can get account pat information to dupe people. There's nothing good about those third server posts. So I don't understand why it went on for weeks. But anyway,
Well, I think it is. I do kind of understand. I always want Pokemon to be able to be played by everyone, and live can't be played by everyone.
that's true.
But obviously, people hacking into like the Pokemon service isn't really. Yeah, it is just it's not really good.
Right. I mean, people could get around it with a VPN, but ultimately, live is not by the Pokemon Company; it's by PTCG. Or
TPCI.
yeah, I knew I messed it up in there. So, and they don't actually have it's available to everyone that they can legally do it. I believe so. They're not holding that back. That's actually the parent company, their rules. So anyway, but I think that's enough of that, right? You don't want to keep going with that topic, correct?
Yeah, and speaking of holding things back, obviously we just talked about rotation.
Yep.
There are a bunch of cards that are printed, right, that exist that you can't play. We're going to talk about a few that we each have three. We actually have more than three, but we're going to each talk about three cards that are not legal for standard and talk about whether they'd be interesting additions to standard if they are reprinted or whatever. Some might require some minor tweaks. Um, yeah, but for the most part, we'll talk about them and see where they'd be interesting. I think we talked briefly before this. We didn't talk about really any of the specific cards,
Right.
but yours, Mine are better. I'd like more powerful cards than yours, but I want to hear yours. So what's your first card you got for us?
Right. As usual, we started the concept with just like a sentence, so we took different directions, and my thought is these cards would be good for the game. So I don't want cards that are overpowered because they wouldn't be fun. So I'm going to start off with one that was a card that I had some success with, but I often puzzled me because I was still early days as a player. But that's a supporter, and this is Green's Exploration. So
That's an interesting one.
so what it says for those that aren't familiar is you can play this card only if you have no Pokemon with abilities in play. So that's a significant limitation. That you search your deck for 2 trainer cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, shuffle your deck. So they can be supporters if you want, but of course you can't play them that turn. So you're probably getting some items or something like that. So any 2 cards once per turn, any 2 items is very powerful. So you'd have decks. Obviously, Green's decks were built around without Pokemon with abilities, and then it gave you versatility with decks, and it really allowed for some, I think higher level decision making. Like I said, for me, it was my earlier days in Pokemon. So when I would try the Green's decks, I wasn't always making the best choice, and then things would quickly go sideways. But I think it allows for some fun options in decks.
Yeah, a few things I want to say about this card. First of all, in terms of ruling wise, some of you may be wondering this Path and Peak has rotated, but certain cards that are similar, such as Klefki, Fluttermane,
Hmm.
or Tinglu EX, I guess,
Right.
those turn off abilities, but they actually remove the ability altogether. So you would be able to, if you had, say, Comfy in the active, and your opponent has a Klefki or a Fluttermane, which would turn off the ability of the the Comfy, assuming that's the only ability in play,
Right.
then you can play Green's Exploration, because that Pokemon quote doesn't have an ability anymore. And also, secondly, you said it adds interesting decision making. I don't know. It's kind of in some sense it's weaker. It searches for 2 cards, which is really nice,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it also doesn't it like limits your deck building a lot. So
Right.
it gives you a puzzle in deck building. In terms of playing, the issue is like oftentimes you want to be getting a supporter off of it, right? You want to get
Right.
a supporter, another greens or whatever, and so then
Yes.
you're just searching for 1 card.
Yeah, it's a lot of times you would get a supporter for next turn is plus an item to play that turn. So which obviously set you back a good bit. So well, that was part of the but I to me it opens up more deck options, right? It makes non-ability decks a little bit more viable, and obviously they're not as viable in general. So it's a boost for that. And just it's again, it's that decision making, sequencing can get more complex with it, which I think makes the game more interesting.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting card. I'm trying to think of uses because, as you said, abilities are really good. And did you
Yeah.
have specific uses you were thinking of?
No, I didn't. I mean, when you're talking though, if like you're playing expanded now, you could then put this in you could put in say a Charizard EX deck. I mean, a Pidgeot EX deck. You could path yourself along the way to play a greens when you needed to, for instance, which could get interesting. Obviously, it was partly done with some fire-based decks back in the day, which was complicated because one of the cards you wanted was Welder, which of course you couldn't use that turn. So it was like, what do you need this turn to make things happen? What are you doing to set up your next turn? Which was always it was a tricky line to dance.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Honestly, I don't think it was. I don't know. It was a weird card. Obviously, it was good. It saw play. And notably as well, it was within it was with like tag teams, right? And tag teams are
Yeah,
Pokemon that gave up 3 prizes and had high HP and were
hmm
basics. Meaning, and
that's
I'm
true.
looking through the list, and a lot of them are tag teams. Pretty much all of them are tag teams. It came out when tag teams came out, though, and so that's because tag teams don't require as much other Pokemon. If you're a basic 3 prizer, you just need potentially 2 Pokemon throughout the
Hmm.
entire game as your attacker. Versus right now, if you're playing like Charizard, where you need at least 6 Pokemon, the 3 Charmagers and 3 Charizards, which is more. Although it does help set up stage twos.
Yeah, yeah, it would. Yeah, whether the standard format is at the best place for greens now or not, but being able to get your rare candy Ultra Ball on one turn, or I get, would be a nice option for things. what was good to me is there were a number of greens decks around that were okay decks, but they weren't the best decks either. So it didn't make for overpowering decks, which I don't want to see things become overpowering. But it opened up. I felt like it just opened up a few possibilities of decks that were kind of fringe top 10 decks. I might be forgetting some really strong decks that played greens, but that seemed to be kind of what it
Yeah,
opened up.
no, I don't think. I honestly think it's a little underpowered. Um, maybe not too underpowered, but the issue is it was like almost good enough or pretty decent, which I
Hmm.
think is a good balance level. But also, it's very deck warping. Like you need to build a greens deck,
Right.
and so now your deck is completely different than any other deck, but not necessarily like in an interesting way. It's a way in which I view as a way you can do less. But I think it's cool. I mean, greens decks weren't really my thing ever, but I know they were some people's, and other options are as good.
Yeah. All right. So you shot down my idea because it's garbage to you. So what do you propose for your first
Yeah. So
choice?
before we were talking about some cards, and you brought up a card that would actually work very well with greens exploration.
Hmm.
Uh, and pretty much everything. Yeah, this card's very good. It's Versus Seeker. Yeah,
Okay,
so
which I
Versus
said
Seeker.
I would not want to bring back. So, and obviously
Yeah,
you make the
so
argument why it should now.
yeah,
Uh,
so Versus Seeker is an item card. Or sorry, did you have something to
yeah,
add
no,
before?
no, yeah, no. We need to read it off. So go ahead.
Yeah, so it's an item card here. Came in Phantom Forces. Apparently, also came in what is this? Roaring Skies. I don't know. The main print was in Phantom Forces. I honestly thought this card was around forever, but I guess it wasn't. So it's an item, and it just says quite simply, put a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. So
Yeah.
this is kind of like Pal Pad in the sense that it recovers a supporter. It only recovers one, but it's to your hand.
Right.
And obviously, the idea is that it gives you recovery. So if you play only one copy of a supporter, you can Versus Seeker it back, and then essentially have four copies of it. So you have four Versus Seekers and a bunch of singular supporters. There are or potentially like two of copies of supporters and stuff
Right.
like that. And it changes the game a little bit as well. It's also very good. It's a very, very good card, notably in expanded.
Yeah.
It's played like all the time. I'm scrolling through the list. This is most expand or is this most expanded? I'm not sure, but it's a lot of expanded, and it's played in almost every expanded deck. It's really good. Um, but also, I mean, so is like so is Quick Ball with that rotate. So it's like Ultra
Yeah.
Ball, right? Ultra Ball is a really good card, and I'm not out here saying that Ultra Ball is not good, right? Or is bad for the game.
Hmm.
I think it's very balanced, but or I no, I think it's very good. I think it might be a little overpowered. I think Quick Ball was definitely quote unquote overpowered. It was really, really good, like a four of in every single deck. But I don't think it hurt the game. In fact, I think it helped the game.
Yeah.
So that's why I think overpowered trainers aren't necessarily problematic.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna say, quick ball for me, it was an honorable mention because I do. It was very powerful. I like getting it to hand. Honestly, it just gives you more flexibility. But I didn't. Doesn't make my top three.
Yeah, it's similar to Nest Ball and Ultra Ball,
Right.
like pretty similar. And it
Yeah.
wouldn't change the game that much.
No, no. I mean, we were concerned when we knew, with the rotation what would happen, but it's obviously adjusted pretty well. Look, Versus Seeker is a very powerful card. I enjoy playing it a lot in expanded decks because it's super, super strong. You're not mentioning the other. You don't have the card that it gets commonly paired with on your list, do you? Or is it safe to
No,
discuss?
no.
And by that I mean Battle Compressor, right?
Yeah, which
Which,
isn't necessarily commonly paired. Battle Compressor is so it's an item from the same set actually. This was like probably the most broken set ever. It's absolutely absurd. But Battle Compressor, once you search the deck for any three cards and discard them as an item, then shuffle your deck. Recently, this actually just rotated, and it's a really weird card. It was released only as a promo, but Professor Burnett did the
hmm.
same thing, except it's a supporter, and it does one less card. So that's how good this card was.
Right,
Um, but only in certain like scenarios. In a lot of scenarios, I mean, why do you just want to discard stuff from your deck, right? It does like
right.
thin, but the idea is you compare it with Versus Seeker, compare it with put cards that want stuff in your discard, and things like that.
Right, and this was, like if you wanted to play a budget, Mad Party was a very budget friendly at the time, expanded deck when it first came out, and Versus Seeker Battle Compressor just made the deck very strong. It could compete with obviously much higher level decks because you just discarded like crazy. you'd make sure you discard one supporter that you'd versus seeker back, so you had access to whatever supporter you needed on a lot of turns. It would still give you that now. I mean, honestly, the fact that like Pidgeot EX gives a lot of flexibility. If you have the ability to get any one supporter from your discard pile with Versus Seeker, now you don't need to pal pad it back. So you have so much access to that one supporter on almost every turn of the game. It'd be kind of scary to me what Versus
Yeah,
Seeker could do.
it'd be crazy if there's a Pokemon Standard or multiple that no. So there are some Pokemon Standard that are similar though. There's Pelipper with an on playability that's actually a little better.
Hmm.
That searches from the deck or the discard pile. It is a stage one. There's another stage one, the Bayonet from I want to say it's Lost Origin, but it might not be.
Hmm.
It might be some other set. Let me find it. It is Lost Origin. That's the wrong bayonet. There's apparently two bayonets from Lost Origin. It's the regular one that says, once in your turn, you can put a supporter from your discard into your hand, and then you lost them this. So those both have that same effect, and they're pretty terrible. They're not like absolute trash,
Hmm.
but they're not. And obviously, Versus Seeker is better, but I don't think Versus Seeker would like ruin the game. And also, you mentioned, or
Hmm.
I know I mentioned I like to play different cards, right?
Yeah.
So I think this would open up the door for more niche supporters. It would, yeah, so this card unfortunately rotated, but it would open up the door for Mustard.
Yes, which would make it much better. I mean, yeah, look, it opens up possibilities, and that's the good thing about it, right? You can play those one of supporters all the more, which I do enjoy that type of thing. Um, my concern is that the card is just too strong. That what is it just gonna just cause too much disruption to the format?
Well, what do you mean like disrupt? I feel like it makes decks more consistent. So I get this. There's some. It's nice to have some randomness, but it's not like it's removing all the randomness. Um, either. I think I don't know. I think it's not like it's helping certain decks like a lot more than others. I mean, it is helping some decks more than others, but I think it also does enable some of the less like precise draw engines, looking at like Curly of a Barrel, and
Hmm.
allowing them to have more specific, essentially search rates recovery, but it's kind of acting like search. So
Right.
I think that's cool.
I mean, it makes your Pokestop a lot better now.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's true. But I think that's fine. I mean,
which
Pokestop
could,
decks.
yeah,
I don't like the fact that you like can't really play supporters in them. So
right.
I wouldn't mind. I don't love Pokestop, right? Pokestop's a weird card. I'm not a big fan of because it's very inconsistent.
Hmm.
Um, honestly didn't think about that, but I think it's that's fine. I mean, Pokestop's a fun stadium as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of match. Obviously, it's seeing a lot of play, and with a lot of the decks I'm playing, I'm not playing Pokestop decks. But if I find myself in a bind, it's like, do I Pokestop or not? Because the risk reward is not usually good for non the deck design for it. But anyway, that's kind of beside the point. But and also decks like Curlia engines that discard cards for the engine versus Seeker helps those a lot more than other decks, which could be fine.
I feel like this more so replaces the counts of supporters though. So like instead of playing for research, you run like two, and
Hmm.
then you run like I don't know, you run like two Ionos and two research and like a boss and stuff like that, and then you go ahead and you just play Versus Seeker. It also makes I know
Hmm.
people don't love item lock, but I don't think item lock is super good. I think it's pretty bad right now, but
Yeah.
and it's not oppressive, and this would make it better in a way that I think could be enjoyable. I don't know. Maybe I'm like maybe people wouldn't agree on that, but I think a small amount of lock can be interesting.
Yeah, look, I mean, I find item lock to be always something I'm considering, and it's not in the strongest place right now. So, which of course, playing against it's never fun to play against. Is the question is versus seeker too powerful? That's the argument against it. Right? The positive
But I don't
argument.
think being too powerful means it's bad. Like you've said, it's too powerful, and I could see. I agree, it's very powerful. But being too powerful doesn't necessarily mean it causes problems.
No, I think I wouldn't want to see it in battle compressor come back together because battle if you set that up early, get that combination, you can run over people too much in getting the right. I don't want the game to be. I have the right starting hand. I win the game. Right. That's not a good thing. You want to tone it down a little bit. But it does allow for more flexibility, more versatility, and supporter counts and decks, which is a plus. So maybe it would be good for the game. I'm not certain.
Yeah, okay, that's my thoughts as well. But you said you had an item, or I don't know. Do you want to go with your item now?
I will. I didn't, but I will since you brought it up. So, and this is one I like this. I liked it. It is scoop up net. Now,
A classic.
it's it's got to get errated though. Okay, that's the one thing. So maybe I'm cheating on it, but right,
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
it's but it should have been errated anyway. I think it shouldn't. It's banned from expanded now because they didn't errata it. So what it says, it's an item. Put one of your Pokemon that isn't a V or a GX into your hand, and at the time, and you discard all attached cards. So at the time, the multi-prize Pokemon were in standard were Vs and GXs. So it was okay in standard. Although in expanded, even back then, they had the old EXs that you could scoop up.
Which were
And
actually the new EXs back then.
this was the capital letter EX, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So like Shaman EX, right, which then got banned and expanded because of Scoop Up Net, because you could just
Yeah, I
go
think it's still
crazy with it.
banned. I don't remember. It's gotten a little confusing, and no one really plays expanded either, or at least internationally
Right.
in expanded, people don't really play it.
No. So it needs to get errated. So I think no rule box Pokemon it'd be the simplest way to do it, which you can't scoop up, which means things like Radiant
Radiant Greninja.
Pokemon, yeah, you can't scoop up, which, I wouldn't mind it being scooped up, but I think it's just that's fine. You live with that because I think that's the simplest way to say it. No rule box Pokemon.
It
Or
could be like no V's, GXs, EXs, EXs, or EXs.
Yeah, I mean, no multi-prize Pokemon. I guess they could make if there was that type of thing. Although that,
Yeah, but that's
but
not like a thing.
no,
So
but they could. But then I also realized you make that the rule. Then in expanded, I play.
ADP.
Well, no, that's no. I play the one that with
Island Challenge Amulet.
Sylveon, or like
Oh,
Sylveon with its tool that reduces a prize, right? So then
yeah.
the V becomes a one prize Pokemon, right? I could scoop it up. Could I not scoop it
Yeah, I
up?
guess.
You see,
I don't know. We're just making up stuff.
so that's why
So
I
it
don't
does.
think it's the one prize. But it's not crazy. Other people have said it too. They could errata Scoop Up Net or reprint it and just make it non-rule box Pokemon. I think it's single prize decks struggle right against multi-prize decks, and I would like to see more single prize decks be viable. Scoop Up Net helps that a lot.
I guess. I think it's good. Like it does three things. It lets you switch, it lets you
Yes.
heal, and it
Hmm.
lets you reuse abilities. But the
Right.
healing thing, if you're a single price deck, it doesn't matter too much because you're probably getting one shotted. So the reusability
Yeah.
thing is like useful.
Hmm.
Save my boy Pelipper, right? But then
Well, one could
it
say
could.
Drizzile and be reasonable, but go ahead.
Yeah. No, but that's rotated, right? So Drizzle, it was really
Yes,
good, but it's not in the format anymore.
that's
So
true.
I don't actually know what this would be that good with. There's like Hawlucha. There are some things, but and then the switching. I mean, like you could just run switch, right? So and switch is better because it switches everything.
Right.
Um, you don't lose all the cards attached. They're different, but
Hmm.
yeah, I think it's interesting as well. I'd like to see this card. I thought it was really fun when it was in standard, and it was good, but it was fun.
Yeah, I don't think it was overpowered. It didn't make things crazy. Obviously, like the
I mean,
Regis,
it's very good. It's very good in Lost Zone.
yeah, it was very good in Lost Zone, but it didn't crush Lost Zone losing it, right? So it's not gonna. I don't think Lost Zone's gonna. It'll improve Lost Zone, but I'm
Well,
not
no,
sure.
but it was really you could like turn one, like either you could turn one Mirage Gate, and then there were yeah, like turn one Mirage Gate's pretty scary.
Yeah, but you've now, yeah, but you've got a. You've now tossed in four scoop up nets along with like a lot of other stuff. Can you make it actually function, right? As a
It's like
deck?
force Scoopiness instead of force Switch. You could just do that, and then you could turn one Mirage Gate without like not easily necessarily, but
Yeah.
possibly.
Yeah, I mean, but it didn't make the deck too good, right? I mean, it was
I
very
don't know. It
good.
was very good. The issue was that the other decks were also really good at that point. We had
Yeah,
the big three, which were Lugia with
right,
Aurora Energy.
right,
We had Lost Zone, and then we had Mew, and people because Mew was good.
right.
And I
Yes,
think that was like those were just really Yeah, and then some people play like Reggie's or something. I don't know. It was mostly just those three
Right,
though.
those three. Scoop of Net obviously was very good for Reggies, both for getting because those were semi tanky enough you could scoop them up out of play. Look, I mean, some of the Paradox box decks with Scoop of Net would
Well, but
definitely
they're mostly EXs.
well, the single prize ones,
So I
right?
guess the ancient one.
The box,
The
right?
future ones, um, yeah.
But even the future, if it becomes the box style one, it starts to have
But
some
no, the
single
box,
prize, right?
there are two single prizers. There's the Miraidon,
Hmm.
which is like the first attacker,
Right,
which you wouldn't really want to scoop up. And then there's the Iron Bundle, which you just discard with this ability. That's about
right.
it.
Yeah, so you don't. Yeah, so it might. Yeah, so it's more the ancient box would might have value there. Look, I think it opens up possibilities is my argument. You know, again, single prize Pokemon, they like they like the multi-prize cards in terms of play, right? That's what they want the meta to be focused around, which I don't love that, but Scoop Up Net helps the single prizers have a more of a fighting chance.
Helps Snorlax.
Well, it counters Snorlax, right? Too,
I guess.
because
Yeah, it's okay.
if you can
It's about as good as Switch. Well, I know it's better than
it's
Switch
better
because
than
you can get it.
Switch. It's out of
Um,
play permanently if you want. So,
yeah. Well, temporarily. So Erica's invitation you.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Snorlax. I got to say since rotation. Like,
Wow, lucky you, lucky
well, have
you.
you? I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen a bit.
Okay.
The latter, I don't know. I've been playing a bunch. I want to get to Master Tier because I feel like I may just kind of want to,
That's
and
the one
I'm
below Arceus.
close. Yeah, or it's the
Okay.
one that Arceus is in, and so is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I thought Arceus was its own thing.
The thing we're looking at kind of said it, but Arceus is in Master Tier,
Okay.
so it might have different like things going on. But
Okay.
anyway, so I want to get there, and I'm like pretty much there. But then I keep like seeing, I've been seeing a lot of Snorlax, and it's just not fun, and a lot of. I feel like the meta is kind of narrow right now in terms of ladder. It's not terrible or anything, but the good decks are. I think the meta's in a decent spot, but I've seen a lot of Iron Hands, I've seen a lot of Snorlax, a
Hmm.
lot of Charizard, and a decent amount of Chien-Pao, and that's about it. But that's fine.
Yeah, well, look,
I guess.
I just today I was working on my Pidgeot Charizard box, so I'd like to see a narrow meta for that because that's a counter box, and those decks you're saying are good for it. But I see a lot of randomness. I also am working on Future Hands just to try that deck out, which is a little, it's very matchup dependent. So, but bring back ADP. I assume that's going to be your number one card anyway. So
Yeah, of course,
I
of
shouldn't have
course.
leaked that. So, but this with Future Hands, it's ADP you can pull off on turn one if things go well. So that's not really.
Wait, well, what's there are a bunch of so there's three different decks that might all be the same deck. There's Future Box,
Yeah,
there's
this is
Future
different.
Hands,
Yeah,
and then there's Turbo Hands,
I don't
and
know.
then there's just Iron Hands from Miraidon,
Okay,
um, and and Miraidon Box. I don't know if Miraidon Box is a thing, but I've definitely heard Iron Hands Miraidon. That's usually what I call the deck.
okay. I don't play Miraidon on my list. I think that
Well, you
this.
don't play Miraidon?
Oh, the single prize. I'm sorry, not Miraidon EX. I've seen with Miraidon
Oh, yeah,
EX
yeah.
as well, but no, of course I play Miraidon uh, in the deck. So I mean, yeah, no, I do play the new Miraidon EX, not the old Miraidon EX is what I
Uh,
mean. I
Oh,
don't
you do
play.
play the new the new
Yeah, I don't play
Miraidon
the
EX?
Lightning Miraidon
Wait,
EX.
there's two Lightning Miraidon EXs.
I play the new one.
The Dragon
No, I play
Miraidon
the
EX.
dragon. Yeah, not Lightning. The dragon.
And you also play the single prize Miraidon.
Oh yeah, I have two copies of that, and then yeah, three Iron
One copy
Hands,
of one
four
copy of the
Iron
Miraidon
Crowns.
EX.
Yeah, yeah, because that's just a secondary. It does bigger damage, right? It does 220 as its base. I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
that took
anyway,
a while. Why did they do this? Why is Pokemon name all the cards the same?
yeah, okay. So here was the thing. I was listening to a different podcast that's obviously not as good as our podcast, talking about. They were talking about the future of these other TCGs. We're way off topic here. I got that, but in talking about like which TCG, they looked at Limitless and saying which TCG is going to fail first. That's what they did, and they didn't say
But they looked
Pokemon.
at that. Wait, why did they look at Limitless?
They looked at Limitless on the list for the online games that they
But
cover.
that's a Pokemon website.
But
I mean, it's
isn't it?
fine.
But it
Okay.
has like five or six other games, right?
Yeah, I don't
It
think it
has
has
Lorcana.
Magic.
They
I'm
said
gonna check.
Lorcana maybe would be first. I don't think it has
But that's
Magic.
like, yeah, which is kind of
Well, they
big.
might have said Digimon, but whatever it was, and whatever game they were talking about, I think it was like they said, "Oh, but can you imagine?" imagine? They talk about one of the games that's got to end soon because can you imagine reprinting more different versions of cards with the same name? And they all laughed like, "Oh, that would be so stupid to do." And I'm thinking that's all Pokemon does. I mean,
Yeah, that's totally like what they
how
do.
many Charizards do we have? Like how many Charizards per expansion almost do you have? It's just anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, that very off topic, but Pokemon obviously loves to make the same Pokemon over and over again. So anyway, scoop up net. So you're not again you're shooting my idea down,
No,
correct?
I think it's good. I like it. I think it's not as impactful as some of the other ones. Like this next one,
Okay.
which this card's actually older. It's not even in expanded. I don't know too much about this card. Let me double check to make sure it's the right. Oh, it's hard to search. Okay.
So is it on
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Limitless?
Yeah. It is Mew from Triumphant. I think I'm not super familiar with sets, but I'm pretty sure it's Triumphant. And
Okay.
yeah, so it has. Oh, this
Uh-oh.
Limitless is wrong.
How am I
That
going to
is
find this
fine.
one?
It's yeah, so it's Mew. It's at the end. It's the last one or the first one or whatever. If you search Mew into Limitless, so this is set 151, and the set code is Mew. So if you
Hmm.
search Mew into Limitless, every card from 151 shows up.
Oh, it says
But
it's
did you
got
find
the
it?
lost link ability.
Yeah, which isn't an ability. It's a Pokebody, but we'll treat it as an
Oh, I'm
ability
sorry.
because
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
no,
yeah,
Limitless says it's a Pokebody, or it says it's an ability as a Pokebody.
yes. Okay.
Um, Is this a prime Pokemon? I don't think so. I honestly forget that gimmick. It's kind of terrible. It's not terrible. People love it, but it's not actually a mechanic. Um,
Okay. So why don't you
Anyway,
tell us what the card set does?
yeah. So first of all, you have an attack here. You're 60 HP basic. You're weak to psychic, but that would presumably be changed to darkness if this came back. I
Hmm.
would not make it higher than 60 HP, most likely. It has free retreat, as Mews often do. Again, no resistance, possibly would be changed to resistance of fighting. It doesn't really matter, though, let's be honest.
No.
But it is psychic type, and it has an ability here, but we'll talk about that in a second, or a Pokebody, but it's an
Hmm.
ability. But first of all, you have an attack here at C off for one psychic. Search your deck for one Pokemon and put it into your Lost Zone, then shuffle your deck afterwards.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Hmm.
It's not, but the ability is this card is kind of probably going to be broken, but I think it's interesting.
Okay.
I considered so this Pokemon DC Simulator. I've considered running a tournament with standard plus this card.
Okay.
This card has an ability, Pokebody, but it's an ability. Lost Link, Mew, this Pokemon,
Okay.
can use the attacks of all Pokemon in the Lost Zone, and it's both
Hmm.
yours and your opponent's. I honestly forgot it
Wow.
was both players. It doesn't matter too much that it's your opponent's, but you could Lost City.
Right. We have
Um,
Lost City, so that's viable.
Yeah, but Uncommon Fossil, what are your immediate thoughts on this card?
Wow. Okay. I mean, first the attack with the Lost Zone, the regular attack you might use just to also Lost
I mean,
Zone
if
decks
things are going
could use it
badly,
too, right?
if it's going badly, it's not great. You'd rather actually attack for
But
the
you also need to
damage.
get a Pokemon in the Lost Zone, right? And that might be how you set up your next attack too.
Yeah, that's true.
And the Lost Zone deck could even include it to instead of ending with a Comfy inactive, you send this up, get an extra bonus card in the Lost Zone. I don't know, but that's not what it's there for. Um, Lost Link. I mean, obviously, played decks where you copy attacks from the discard pile. There's a lot of different decks that do that with different ways, right? And in a lot of it, you have to have the energy in play still. Um, and that's good, right? And those make for
Yeah.
good, interesting decks, I think.
Sorry, Uncommon Fossil, can you hear me?
I do, yes. I just heard that.
Okay. Rip. Sorry about that. My audio cut something glitched.
Okay.
Yeah. So you said that like your box decks are cool, right? That's what you said.
Right,
I
I like
didn't hear
box
all.
decks, and right, and I'm used to box decks where you copy attacks from Pokemon in the discard pile is common, right? We have a lot of ways. Regidrago, V Star, we have like Mewtwo and Mew, EX, things like that, right? So there's a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Copying for the Lost Zone is interesting. Obviously, we have other Lost Zone things in format now because you need to have that, right? If there was no other Lost Zone cards, Mew by itself, I don't think is going to work. Um,
Yeah, I mean, you do have the attack, but yeah, I kind of forget how this worked back in the day. Apparently someone played Chandelure, Excelgor,
oh,
Vileplume, Darkrai, Relicanth,
this is the
Lock.
Chandelure
This
Excelgor
is like
lock deck.
yeah.
In
But
2012
anyway,
came in 14th, yeah. So okay,
ooh. but that deck sucked. Not gonna lie, it was item lock and paralysis.
Okay.
So yeah, but obviously this is kind of it's weird, right? It's kind of hard to get certain cards in the lost zone. I'm trying to think of
Hmm.
what puts stuff in the lost zone. There are actually a lot of things, but people like the
Right.
main ones, Colors Experiment
Right.
and Comfy, but they're kind of random, right?
Yeah. How do you search? Lost Vacuum would be the best card in one sense
Y-
because then you can get a. If you have the search, you get the card in the hand. You Lost Vacuum can be more precise with that tool.
Yeah, but also obviously Lost Vacuum isn't necessarily a super good tool. I mean, it can be good in a number of scenarios, but just
Hmm.
using it to use it isn't always
Right.
ideal. You will see Lost Zone decks use it. I think this might be very broken. I don't know. I didn't look too much. Obviously, the idea is that you probably do this, and then you Mirage Gate to it, and then you attack with like
Right.
anything. Like all of a sudden, you're getting Dialga V starred, and then and then next turn you're getting like Radiant Greninja. So
Yeah. Although you're already getting Radiant Greninja if they built the deck for that
that's
anyway.
true. That's true.
And they obviously can. You can recover things from the discard pile pretty easily. So I'm not worried about that too much. And your dial. Is it going to be too good? I mean, that's the question, right? How much
I
better
feel
would?
like it can copy evolutions on a base deck, but then setting it up's awkward. I think it would be a good addition to Lost Zone.
Hmm.
And Lost Zone's already very good, but I mean, we're just talking about Scoop Up. That's a good addition, and it was very good. It was.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily the best deck.
Right. So now you can your Lost Zone deck. You drop a copy of this in or two. You can copy your Giratina V Stars attack on a single prize Pokemon, which could be
Yeah.
better. But of course, you're getting one shot each time. If your Giratina V Star is not getting one shot, it might be better not to have him. So how much better does it make the deck? Because the HP is so obviously the HP has to stay low. If you're not knocking it out easily, it's way too powerful. So it could make it too good, right? I think something like the Dialga though, or something like that's going to be problematic because you still need basically a full Lost Zone deck and the Mew, and you can't go too crazy with something like Dialga with all those energies. You're not doing that, I don't think.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think the issue is like, well, I was gonna say like Dialga, then you can after that pivot to another different attack. But Dialga V Star's regular attack is pretty powerful already.
Right.
Not insane, but I mean it's pretty much one shotting everything. So like once you have 5, 6, 7 energy on, so,
Hmm.
it's good. It's probably a little too good.
Hmm.
I think as a two prizer, it would be pretty balanced. It might even not be good enough.
Probably isn't good enough then because any card that you're going to copy the attack with Mew, you can already play in the Lost Zone deck because you have to
But if
power.
it's a well, no, but if it's like a stage 2 or stage 1 or evolution,
That's true. It
that's
helps
the
with the
idea.
evolutions, right? So right now they're basics or they're V stars, right? Like Giratina
Um,
or Gudra.
yeah, occasionally some like stage 1s, but not super commonly. The Pokemon that act like stage 1s, but
Right.
mostly just basics and Giratina.
I mean, you're right. You could do like an EX stage one, but I don't know that people have messed around with that too much. I guess maybe they're not that
Yeah,
good enough.
yeah, probably.
So yeah, having access to a stage two, so now I can copy my Charizard EX with this. That might not be good because now,
Yeah, but I mean, Charizard EX is a big part of why it's good is its HP
right?
and its ability, right? Those are really good.
Yeah, so there might be other better stage twos. It could end up being too good. So that's probably yeah, it probably is going to be problematic for the game. And Lost Zone's very good right now. We don't want to kick it up too much. At least I don't. It's in a
Nah, I'd never want to do that. No, I like Lost Zone. I haven't played it too much post rotation, but I like toolbox decks, and we talk
yeah.
about this a lot. And I think it could be fun because we don't really have any true toolboxy Pokemon. We have Regidrago V Star, but that doesn't
Hmm.
have a lot of like attacking options, right? That's like
Right.
20 or 30. And
Right.
I actually want to check how many Dragon Pokemon there are in Standard. I'm going to do that real quick.
Okay.
I imagine there's like 30 or 40. Okay, there's 45, but a bunch are pre-evolutions.
Yeah.
So, and a bunch are like bad. Realistically, there's like 20 or so usable attacks.
Hmm.
Maybe less because a lot of them are just straight up damage, right? So,
Right. And then you just like are going to do the best one because the energy is the same and all in
yeah,
terms
so
of
it's
cost.
Giratina V Star or Koraidon EX for big single target damage. You
Yeah.
do have downsides. There is Raging Bolt EX,
Mm-hmm.
and which is okay. There's Noivern. Noivern's good. I mean, there,
Yeah.
we're not talking about Regidrago too much right now. There are options, but although no Duraludon that rotated, and then
Yep.
yeah, I think this is cool though. There's also Ditto. That's an
Mm-hmm.
option. But Ditto's not very good, right? It's okay, but it copies basic single fires Pokemon, which you again could just attack with anyways because they are just basics.
Right. I mean, it allows you to have a box style deck, obviously. We have 4 Dittos and a bunch of one ofs of these other Pokemon, but and we don't have a Rescue Carrier, which a deck like that without Ditto would like.
Yeah,
So the
or
quest,
with Ditto.
yeah, that's true. Either way, it likes it. Rescue Carrier. So Mew probably gets to be too good. The idea, as you're talking there, copying Pokemon with effects like like a Alolan Vulpix V Star, to be able to drop that on any turn you want is nice too. Anything that
Yeah,
walls things
yeah.
off,
Oh,
like
Noivern as well. We
right,
just said.
right, the things like that, to have those options to set up easily. Like I told, I like my Charizard Pidgeot box because I can set up different counters now. Potentially, I can do it easier and have more flexibility with the Mew because I don't need to, especially there's all this like Noivern, along the Vulpix V Star, they evolve, so now I don't have to evolve, so I can pivot on a turn by turn basis with things. So yeah, which is fun. I like it, but it could just be too good.
Yeah. Oh, also one last thing. The card art that you're looking at it, right? And any
Yeah.
viewers, it's hard to read the name of the card.
Oh yeah.
It's like yellow on like, well, it's on purple, but it's on like, it's kind of this. It's hard to read. It's not like horrible. This is also the
Yeah.
era of the Legends Pokemon. I was gonna search for them. Oh, wait, yeah, I can search for them. They're very hard to read.
Okay.
They are sideways as well, so they are hard to read because they are sideways. And
Right.
in Pokemon TCG Online, did not turn them, so they were just sideways. You had to turn your head to read them, which was so nice and fun. And they're at weird angles. It's really weird. Um, but I know some people
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah. I mean,
Anyways,
so maybe Mew probably is too powerful. Is I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna take that it's not gonna be great.
yeah, it might be a little problematic. But you got a final card that, well, I don't know. I don't know what this card is.
All right. Let's see. You changed my list. Oh, so here we go. And this is one which I think should come back definitely. And I think you're gonna be excited about it too. And that's Training Court.
Woo! No, I what training
Training
card?
Court. It's. You see, this
It's
is
good in
it's
Chimpao. I don't
it's
know. You,
good
I
in
never liked
things.
this one that
Again, it's
much.
well,
It's like good. It's decent. It's
it's
a
good. It
solid
was good
stadium.
in number of decks, right? It was
Yeah.
good
So what
with
it does, it's a stadium that just recovers and let once during your turn you can recover a basic energy from your discard to your
right.
hand.
Yes. So it allowed decks where you discarded your hand, right, which was part of it, like your
Beefy on.
yeah, so your B drill, right? You have to discard your hand. You draw 5 random cards. You've got to attack that turn, so you're guaranteed your energy. There are some other things too, right? There was what Peonia that discard your hand, get 2 items.
Peony.
Peony, I messed it up again. All right, so
We're almost there.
I
Wait, is peony items? Oh, I think it is.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think you discard your hand, got 2 items, and
No,
then
it's two trainers.
oh
It
two
was usually
oh
items.
2 trainers. Okay, so it was more versatile, which is a lot better. But you're probably getting two
Just a little
items.
better. You can get training court.
That's true. Yeah, but ideally you'd have that in play already, so that guaranteed you an energy. So it opens up certain lines of play. Getting that, besides taking away these there's more been seeing the control. Like I tested it some all out Blitzel's control deck with all getting discarding energy along the way isn't fun. So something that you can cover some energy, although some of that goes in the lost zone too. But being able to recover your energies up against hammer decks and stuff, it's good to make life hard for decks like that too. I think.
Yeah, that's true. I think training court is a decent. It's a good stadium, I guess. It's like not bad. It's not as splashy as some of the.
No, it's not. I haven't gone splashy, but it's a good stadium that gets consideration for a lot of decks and just makes things a little bit better. It helps out, I think, a number of decks, and that's what I want to do with these cards. I don't want to overturn the meta, which is what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah. My Pokemon's ADP. No. So yeah, I don't know. I think training court's fun. I kind of think it with Radiant Greninja, right? It would be good with that,
Hmm.
which I don't necessarily love because Radiant Greninja's like already definitely the best in Radiant. Radiant Charizard is really good, but
Yeah.
and it's showing it in this format. But Radiant Greninja is very good in pretty much anything. And if people are playing Training Court, then this is just Radiant Greninja is just going to be better because it's even better value. It's almost guaranteed draw cards.
Mm-hmm.
Helps Goldengo.
It does. Helps Lost Zone because especially you have all these
Helps
different
Lost Zone.
energies in it, and we always want to help out Lost Zone. That's the biggest thing we've decided. I think so far every card mostly helps Lost Zone, right? That's
Except for greens.
except for
Exploration.
greens, right? Yes.
Wait,
So
what's your second card?
the second card, a Scoop Up Net. So that definitely
Oh, yeah,
helped
that
out
helps Lost Zone.
Lost Zone for sure. So as does Training Core because you have a lot of energy mixes in some of the builds. So being able to get and obviously they get in the discard, you got to get them back. So getting that one energy of whatever type you want is very good. You know. So look, I think basic energy is better. It's more fun than special energy, generally speaking. Right now, you have Lugia for special energy largely, and I'm not a big Lugia fan. So special energies, I'm a little down on these days. Um, so I think I think it helps. There were a number of decks that played Training Court that were interesting decks, right? You have United Wings. You need to get back your darkness energy every time.
I feel like it's not that good for United Wings.
Is there a better stadium? I don't know. I haven't played United
I
Wings in
mean,
a while, I gotta say.
probably Pokestop, right? I feel like Pokestop
Uh,
would be good.
that's
I
true.
feel like a lot of other stadiums would be good.
Well, I
But
Pokestop and then put down my Training Court so I get my energy back each turn.
that's true. That's true.
So,
Um,
all right. So the cards I picked aren't good enough. That's your point here.
I mean, they're good, right? They're good. Scoop Nut's really good. Greens is is quite good. Training Court's also pretty good. I feel like stadiums tend to be less impactful
Hmm.
outside of like Path, and there have been a few other very impactful stadiums, but mostly not, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
All right.
I got
So
another card though. You want to move on, or do you have
no.
what to
Well,
say
let me
about?
just say this. You have your last card, right?
Yeah,
Should I say my honorable mentions, which you're probably gonna
yeah,
like
and
more?
I'll also say my honorable mentions. And you told me one of yours
So, and I already
before.
mentioned Battle Compressor in versus Seeker. In the too strong category, I also put Floatstone
Yeah,
in that, which and obviously they printed that as a nerfed format, right? It's Field Blower, which that one maybe I really like. That's
I don't know. I
an
feel
awesome
like
card.
Lost Vacuums, like
Yeah, it's a nerfed
it's pretty
version of
similar.
that. Yeah, well, it's a lot
Oh, it's
worse.
not
Field
exactly.
Blower did two cards, right? And you didn't have to
Well, Lost Vacuum is good in Lost Zone,
It
right?
is, but Field Blower, like so many decks just played Field Blower. You got rid of up to two stadiums and/or tools, right? Without discarding anything, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was very useful against Garbodor.
Hmm.
Well, the one Garbodor, which those were actually on my list. Well, not the ability lock. I don't like ability lock.
Hmm.
Or I don't like complete ability lock, but potentially the Trashlands Garbodor is a really interesting card, a
Hmm.
pretty well designed one, which punished playing items. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think Field Blow is an interesting consideration, but also it's not going to get reprinted in my opinion with Lost Vacuum in the format, but it could be reprinted
No,
later.
and it probably is too powerful. They're not going to do it. I think Rescue Stretcher is a nice card. That was in the sort of theme decks back in the PTCGO days, where you
Yep, the
recover
goat.
theme format or Rescue
Yeah,
Stretcher, not Rescue Stretcher,
no, no.
which is no, it's a
Rescue
good.
Session is pretty fun. It's a card I like as well.
Yeah, it's an item, and it recovers three Pokemon into deck, which obviously is like a rod, but then it also has an option, or you can put one Pokemon directly into your hand. And Clara got you like up to two, and we have the new supporter, the nerfed Clara, that gets three card. I forget what that one does, but uh, no, that I'm completely wrong about that. But it's a nice card. Chaotic Swell is a stadium. I think that I kind of like. I like that for just having a nice stadium bump. If you're familiar with that, it obviously it bumps a stadium. It doesn't affect the game, but when your opponent plays their next stadium or the next stadium gets played, rather than going to play that stadium, bumps the swell and also gets discarded itself. So just a nice clear keep those stadiums out of the game. I like that for decks that were scared of stadiums. Um, you're still there, correct? Uh-oh. Did I lose him? Let me check the Discord.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I do hear you now. Yes. So, okay.
Wow, yeah, Discord's being so fun.
So,
So I heard all I heard was you were wrong.
So I said rescue stretcher, right? You heard that?
Yeah, no. Yeah, he says like Clara and some other card
Yeah, and
that
I got
it's
confused.
not
No,
like.
I was wrong about that. But I think, getting one Pokemon to hand was really a nice option. I think it was a nice little card. I don't think it's overpowered, but it was a plus. I think Quick Ball, I do like that. I would like to see that come back. You think it may be overpowered, it sounded like.
Well, I think it's very good. I think it's kind of overpowered, but I don't think it's overpowered in a problematic sense.
hmm I have a supporter. I'm just running through the teammates, which was a strong little supporter. Worked only if your Pokemon was knocked out last turn, which we have cards like Raihan and some others that are like that. You search your deck for 2 cards, so that's quite nice. Better than Raihan in a lot of ways, right? It doesn't accelerate your energy, but you get any 2 cards, so
I mean, it's kind of different.
it is.
But they're kind of similar.
And again, it can go in single prize decks where you get knocked out more, which is always a good thing too. And then just the last 2 cards. One is a Pokemon. Is your last, and that's Glare and Wheezing. I,
Ooh,
I assume that's not on your list. People
no, that's not on my list.
people
It's a ability lock card. I'm assuming there's multiple glaring
Yeah,
wheezings.
the one that ability locks. So it ability locks all your opponent's Pokemon as long as it's in the active spot. So that was very powerful. Obviously, a lot of people are probably happy it's not in format because it just shut the game down. And it poisoned, right? Poisoned with extra damage counters, if I recall.
Yes, 4 damage counters,
Right.
which is less than um Galarian Slow King VMAX. Is that what it is? Yeah, which does
Uh,
12, but it's still a good chunk.
yeah. I thought it was fun. It allowed for nice counter options. And then the last card, I don't know if you're mentioning this one, and this is Reset Stamp. And that one might
Whoa.
people bring that up a lot. That's partly why I do it. It probably would be bad for the game.
Wait, to bring it back, I've like heard
Yes.
it like one. That'd be horrible. It's like super busted. It's like the best card. It's not the best card ever, but it's like absurdly good.
But
It's
it
like
allows comebacks, and that's one of the things people like.
people say that. I don't know. I mean, comebacks can be fun, but that's like not. This card is not. I don't like this card.
You
I
don't
don't
want to
like
see
N
it come
either.
back, right?
Yeah, I don't really like N. I mean, it's okay. Notably, in format with like Drizzle, there's a lot of weird stuff that I don't think we're not talking about today. It would be bad for the game, and you said it as well. Um,
Reset Stamp. Yeah, I think it
I
would
think
be.
so.
Um,
It's banned. It's like real. It's the so there's a bunch of cards in Expand that got banned,
yeah,
because they were like a broken combo. But the most broken of them was Reset Stamp. It was essentially the enabler of the whole combo.
right. But without the other cards in the combo, Reset Stamp, you know, it changes the game a lot, right? So without the other cards in that package, it might be okay. Reset Stamp's the one card in format, and this is one of the things I see in the ladder, and it just drives me nuts. Is people putting down a bunch of cards on there before the game starts on the bench, and the only reason to do that
Well,
really
no, there are a few reasons. There's
there's not.
Galar Mine. There's Iron Valiant.
But
There's
now, well, yeah,
EX. Not Galar Mine. I said the wrong stadium. The Gapejaw Bog. That's what I
yeah,
meant with
people don't play
damages
that
you.
though.
No, Iron Valiant can donk you. I've never seen Iron Valiant donk someone ever.
Oh,
Like I've
going, yeah,
but
on their first, yeah, and that's if yeah. So and also, and people also do it. And if you're going first, you're not going to get donked, right? And people do it even if they go first sometimes. So just don't.
yeah.
And certainly if you go second, even then you usually keep it low. Your number, your starting cards. Back with the reset stamp, if you're going second, that was the time to put down Pokemon if you needed it because you might lose it, right? You might all shuffle into your
Theoretically.
hand.
Theoretically. It was essentially something that would never happen. Because it's sort of just a gamble. It's like, oh, I'm just giving my opponent one from a 6 card hand to another 6 card hand,
Right.
which yeah, I think there's like some minor strategy to it, but like very minor strategy. Um, yeah, but I mean,
I guess
I don't think because it shuffles your opponent's hand, their deck draws one for each of the remaining prizes, which is
right.
like Iono or N, but it's an item, and
Yeah.
so you don't put yourself down to a 1 card hand. And yeah, it's very good.
It is, and I guess the problem now is, and I don't think I want to see it in format. Part of the problem at the time, I mean, obviously with Drizzile that could search this out, but there were other cards in particular. But with Pidgeot EX, that it gives great comeback potential to Pidgeot EX, right? You could just reset stamp your opponent till they cry.
Yeah, I think. Well, no. See, there's the bigger issue, and you didn't mention this. I
Go ahead.
figured you'd mention this. It's your boy Fortress EX.
That's true.
Getting it
I'm
turn two reset stamped to 0. No,
well,
to 2.
yeah.
That could happen, and then you'd be yeah. No, I don't know if that'd be any good, but it could happen, and it would be very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, reset stamp. But look, it's yeah. In terms of to consider what would it do to the format, it probably wouldn't be good. But those are like the cards that I was kicking around for possibilities.
Yeah, I had a few other cards just kicking around. I mentioned Garbodor.
Yep.
I also mentioned, I didn't say I said computer search, base set computer search. Very, very good card. Um, I don't know. It's like absurdly good. Yeah.
Because you could play 4 of them in your deck. It's the same thing, right? You discard 2 and you search your deck for only 1 card, but you could play 4 of them.
Yeah, it's obviously really good, but I don't know, it's a fun card. And then another really good card is Junk Arm, which is like Dowsing Machine. It's same text, but it actually does something different. It lets you recover an item from your discard. It's kind
Yeah.
of like Versus Seeker, but it's a little different. And also, in a similar vein, is Propagation Execute, or wait, is it
Mm.
Propagation or Propagate? Um, how do I spell execute? Okay, I'm struggling here. So what set is it?
Each
Anyway, so
egg.
it is propagation. There we go. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, propagation.
that
I
that was
got
a
it.
card that went from discard back into your hand. It was good, I guess. It's a weird card. But ultimately, I decided on Magnezone from it's the one with
Magnezone.
dual brains from Plasma Storm. I think I don't know. It doesn't attack. It's not a particularly good attack, but it does an ability dual brains, and it is a stage 2. It is Team Plasma, but that doesn't matter
Mm.
for this. But during your turn, you may play 2 supporter cards.
Okay, wow. Yeah, because there was the supporter that allowed you to play 3 supporters on your turn, essentially 2 more supporters that turn, right?
Yeah.
But
Which
here
was
it's
banned.
yeah, I get, and yeah, I guess it was necessary. Well, because of the combos for control stuff, I guess.
Yeah,
But
you could what was it? You reset stamped, and then you'd like license, or was it Lieutenant Surge's strategy? You play like Mars or like Delinquent, and then you play like both of them, and then you'd chip Ice Axe.
hmm
But in order to first do that, you need to like Miss Magius and Duskstone multiple times, and then you need to Jirachi EX and Island Challenge Amulet a bunch of times.
hmm
And Island Challenge Amulet, Miss Magius, Mars might not be banned. Is Mars banned? I always think it's banned. I don't think it actually is. Um, it isn't, but the Liquid's banned. Recess Stamp's banned. Red Card's banned. Is Red Card banned? I think it is
I
banned.
think
Um, Red Card, yeah, Red Card's
yeah.
banned. Um, oh, there's a Mars Shadow that's banned. I think. The Iron Challenge Amulet got banned. So pretty much like everything in the deck got banned,
That
which
deck
is
got
kind of
banned,
overkill.
basically.
Um,
Yeah.
but Magnezone is not banned. So
Well,
what are your
because
thoughts?
it's not an expanded, it's not expanded legal.
It
Even
is. Yeah, it is.
it is. Well, then how's it not
Yeah,
get played?
because all the other cards, the other control cards got banned, and they see some play, but not. Well, no one plays expanded. That's the issue.
Well, that's right. And okay, because like the execute, I never got to play an expanded because back in the PTCGO, when you could play expanded and it was in format, it was too expensive to get.
Okay, execute wasn't that expensive,
Well,
compared to like because it was like an
you also needed
um
4 of them, right?
yeah, you need like a bunch. So that was the issue. I can't find the execute. I can find the secret rare. I can't find the regular. Oh, I found the regular one. It's right next to it. It's an uncommon, which is you, right?
That is true.
Um,
But cards like that were expensive to trade for in PTCGO.
yeah,
So
but this one wasn't.
no, this
I
one
don't actually know,
I
but I
don't
assume
think
it
so. I
was.
mean, I never because obviously Lieutenant Surge was that the full name or did it have something else?
Lieutenant Surge's strategy.
Strategy. Okay, I thought what was a good card and saw some play. This is probably better once you get it set up. Obviously, you have to get it set
Yeah,
up.
but it's a stage 2, which is awkward.
That's the
Like,
problem,
yeah,
right? But once it's set up, 2 supporters for turn is tremendous. You could obviously just wreak havoc with that. So I
what do you mean wreak havoc? Like,
well, if you get it set up early enough in the game, you're just doing whatever you want almost, right?
I mean, it's good, but like it allows you to have more consistency and more like you can boss and
Right. You're
Iona or
bossing
whatever at the same turn,
and
which is good.
plus something else every turn. So that's
But there's Prime Catcher and Counter Catcher and Pokemon
but you
Catcher,
only have
which
one
usually
prime catcher, and you have to fall behind for counter catcher. Of course, by the time you have your Magnezone set up, you are behind in prizes. But
exactly.
so it's a stage 2. That's the problem, right? That
And it's
ability.
not your engine. So if you wanted, say, Pidgeot, you need Pidgeot and Magnezone and Charizard, and that's 3 stage 2s.
Yeah, retreat cost is 3, so you don't love it. It's getting bossed. If it gets knocked out, you're sad, but also it's getting gusted and stuck there too potentially. Although once you have it set up, you're good to go pretty much. You're not going to attack with it probably. Um, is it too good?
I don't think it's too good. The thing it's nice in as well, there's some good magnets. Well, there's the Metal Magnezone, which accelerates energy with Dialga. It's not really played right now because Matang kind of replaced it. But
right.
then there's also the Magnezone EX, which is an attacking
Hmm.
option, which is kind of fun.
Right, it would open up those decks as well to play some of the other Magna Zones because you already have to set up the pieces to get it going. It was a Team Plasma card, but I assume we're not going to have the rest of the Team Plasma package. I don't know.
No, I don't think it was played with the Team Plasma package either.
Okay, I don't recall seeing this in the other Team Plasma decks. It's been a while, so I was.
Yeah, no, it was not in the other Team Plasma decks. So there was Plasma Ball, which lets you search for Team Plasma Pokemon, but I'm pretty sure that the pre-evolutions were
Mhm.
not maybe no, the pre-evolutions were not Team Plasma Pokemon.
All right, it's looking here. So it was played in Vileplume. It seems like,
Yeah, mostly like controlled stuff. So there's
which
a
is
deck
everybody's favorite
in
stuff.
expanded, yeah, Vileplume with it doesn't run both Vileplume though. I don't is this expanded? I don't know.
No, I think this was
Um
standard. This was back. Well, I don't know
no,
what the year was, but I
Is this
think.
standard? No, this is not standard. Doesn't look like standard. Um, I
Okay.
can click on the tournament. Yeah, no, it wasn't standard, but
Okay.
um,
Back when they had expanded tournaments.
yeah. But anyway, so there was some like expanded control deck that you just get like with Orbeetle, you get like a bunch of stage 2s into play,
Hmm.
and then I don't. It was kind of weird, but anyway, yeah. So this is interesting though. I think it would be a cool addition to standard. I think it would be pretty balanced. I think it would be playable, but I don't think it'd be super good.
Because it's a stage 2, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't have immediate like benefit. Like it doesn't do anything on its own. If that kind of makes sense. It's not like your engine. It's a really good addition, but it's not your engine.
As long as right, the cards that you're evolving from don't help you out either.
Yeah.
And you're working to set this up, which means you're not setting up something else because it's hard to set up the Magnezone and your Pidgeot EX or like and your say Charizard EX, something like that. You probably can't. It's hard to do them both.
Yeah, and also supporters right now, there aren't a ton of different effects in supporters. There's drawing and then there's gusting and then there's a few other things. But the main ones are drawing and gusting. And this will also again open up the possibility for other ones, like other supporters to be played. But then also like they could clog up your deck and cause issues as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to think through different ways it works. Obviously, have this and like your Charizard EX, where you could Iona your opponent to like 1 or 2 cards, and then you could play a boss after that. Right? So, you got to get those cards. Yeah, I mean, obviously you can like decks that psychic decks like with the Zatu engine where you like Tulip, but you have access to a second supporter and a Tulip. Tulip get back, accelerate like 3 energies and draw 6 cards and play another supporter would be quite powerful. But again, you got to get everything set up to make these things work. So
Yeah, I think it's a little awkward, but fun as well. I think this is to me, it's only the worst of the 3 cards that I
mhm.
looked at. Um, that I had, right? You'd agree with that?
Yeah. Let's see, because you had Versus Seeker and the
And then the
Mew.
Mew.
Yeah, which both could be broken cards. I think
Yeah.
you would say. This one probably because it's a stage 2 and the attack's not real. Well, what's the attack do? Switch it with
It's
it's a
80
hit and
switch to the
run.
bench. And then your opponent switches their active out as
Okay,
well.
but they get to choose. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
not crazy there. Okay. Um. So yeah. Yeah, it probably could be a decent card. I'm trying to think. It probably doesn't break the format putting it in and opens things up. I think is it going to get make control style decks too good? I guess that's a question. Um,
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that could happen, but I think it's interesting.
because control's pretty good right now. The mill is not as great as people had talked about it some at this point, but we'll see. The first format tournament IRL tournament hasn't happened yet, so we'll see. We'll see where all the stall and mill control is at in the near future. So, yeah, I'd be open to Magnazone, giving it a try, see what it did.
Yeah, and I think you're at what you said training court.
Hmm.
Scuba Net might be a little too good with Lost Zone. I think greens could be cool. I've never been a big fan, but I think so. I think we got three cards: training court, greens, and mag zone that would all be probably decently fair in the format.
Yeah, that people would see some play, get some consideration, but aren't going to overturn things. Which I don't think we need to overturn things, but to me, getting some cards that could open up more deck options that's the ideal to me, which I think these would do.
Yep, but I think that's all for today's video. But comment down below if you're watching the YouTube video, and if you aren't, the best place to contact us will be through YouTube, although we do both have Discord servers.
Yep.
But comment down below other cards if you want us to talk about this topic again or other topic ideas, and what your thoughts are on these cards and other cards that could improve the format, or cards that maybe you would want out of the format. But we hope you enjoyed. Check us out on podcasting platforms or on YouTube or all of that, depending where you want, at youtube.com/10 types, youtube.com/uncommon fossil or /at uncommon fossil and 10 types. But we hope you enjoyed it, and we're excited to see you next time.
Take care.